The 2011 natural gas explosion on Worthington Street in Springfield sent literal shockwaves through the city when it happened. Many of the buildings and businesses in the area still haven't recovered. That's up until recently. On his way to work one morning, Connecting Point's Brian Sullivan heard the sound of power tools and other activity emanating from inside the building at 151 Chestnut Street and wondered, what's going on? He found out in our next story.
Much of the landscape of downtown Springfield, Massachusetts is awash in a virtual sea of old, square, brick buildings. Averaging anywhere between 4 and 7 floors, they're not likely to be confused with skyscrapers, but many are aged well over 100 years, which means the early part of the 20th century must have been a bricklayer's paradise around these parts. And while most of the materials used to build them have stood the test of time, countless businesses and residences that once inhabited these sturdy structures have been relegated to the dustbin of history. For the average passerby, they may even look like giant brick gravestones, ghosts of their former glory. Certain investors, however, see opportunity.
What we're doing is trying to create housing for young professionals and students. There's a lot of housing stock in Springfield, but it's not modern. And so we wanted to create the first new market rate housing that's available in Springfield for that demographic.
The location? 151 Chestnut Street, or for those with a good memory, the former Jeep Willys Overland showroom. In fact, nearly the whole block of Chestnut and Worthington is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. But since the natural gas explosion of 2011, much of the area has been in structural disrepair. The folks at Tire Track Automotive have had a front row seat to it all for the past few decades.
Well, at one time this was a booming part of the downtown. We've been in this building since 1991. In that period of time, we've lost 7 buildings to the explosion, but an additional half dozen to just demolition.
Now, the sounds of demolition have been replaced by those of reconstruction and reclamation. With city approval for state funding as well as state and federal historic tax credits, it's been all systems go for most of 2019. And with a roughly $14 million price tag, the plan is to have 60 loft units in the upper 3 floors, as well as 2 restaurant-style businesses operating on the first floor, where the old Willys showroom used to be. Lofty expectations? Maybe not.
We believe, based on the pre-leasing push that we've gotten from a lot of teachers and other folks, that this building is going to lease up very quickly, and it'll be open by next October.
2019 was a busy year for this project, with the demolition portion of things starting back in April. And for historic tax credit reasons, all the new construction to the building didn't start until August, but it's been full steam ahead ever since. When all is said and done, success at this location could very well lead to even more local projects just like this one, sooner than later.
If this goes well, we bought the parking lot behind it so we could build a couple hundred more units attached to this building. And then we've also bought a building on Lyman Street, which is about 100,000 feet. And we're planning right now to do about 70 units in the Lyman Street building, assuming this goes as planned.
The hope is that not only will these projects attract other developers to follow suit in revitalizing the neighborhood, but also to revitalize business for the few remaining operations who've stuck it out in the area through thick and thin.
We lost customers and customer base when the explosion took place, as well as the deterioration of the area in general. And bringing it back up can do nothing but good for us. There's more money in the city to be spent, there's more money in the area to be spent, and we deal in service, and we're right in the middle of what is going to happen.